Greetings and blessings to you. Thanks for joining us once again in this particular live stream that is, and to really consider the amazing power of God and the encouragement and inspiration that comes from considering what God has said and what He has revealed through the scriptures. This is a time like none other that we can look to the Lord and know that somehow He has our back and He's giving us the direction and the instructions that we need to deal with the daily circumstances. It's amazing when we consider the reality of God in our lives to the degree that He inspires faith, He inspires commitment, He allows us to know deep within our hearts that everything is going to be all right. Now, I want to just for a little while to talk to you about Jesus' message to His disciples as recorded in John chapter 4 and verse 24. There Jesus says, "My meat or my food is to do the will of Him who sent me and to finish His work." These are very powerful words from the standpoint that Jesus reveals His heart's desire and His total commitment to doing God's will. As the word spoke of Him, saying, "Lo, I've come in the volume of the book, and is written of me to do thy will, O God." We have the opportunity to live our life in this world and to represent the kingdom in this world with a strong and fervent commitment to do the will of God. Now, Jesus made this statement near the end of a discussion that He had with the woman at the well, the woman of Samaria. The woman, as a result of this discussion, believed on Jesus, perceived Him as the Messiah, and was ready to tell others all about Him. She got excited. She had an enthusiasm about having met the Savior that was contagious. She was able to run to the city and the town and to tell them and to request of them to come see a man, that's different, to come see a man who knew all about me, to come see a man who is the Christ. Now, at the conclusion of that discussion with her, the disciples arrived with food that they had gone to town to purchase, to feed Jesus and to eat themselves. Jesus responds to the disciples' request for Him to eat. They had returned with much food. Their minds were totally on the fact that we've completed our mission. We brought the food and now it's time to dine. Well, Jesus surprises them with this statement about His food. You know, when you consider the focus of the disciples, they no doubt gave attention to food, shelter, and earning a living, much like we do today. Our focus is what we're going to eat, where we're going to live, and how we're going to fund all of that. So being preoccupied with these things is critical at times. But in doing this business, the disciples failed to understand that Jesus was in the midst of a divine moment in which He took time to share the things of God so that this woman would be delivered. Now, Jesus knew the importance of doing God's will and of finishing the assignment. He provides an example for all of us to know that we are living a life of purpose. We're living a life of meaning. And this meaning is derived from the fact that we know God for ourselves and that we are willing to put ourselves on the line to make sure that we do His will and finish the assignment that He has given to us to perform. Now, He was occupied, unlike the disciples who were focused on the food, the natural food. Jesus was occupied with God's work of sharing spiritual things with the woman at the well. And He really sacrificed His food. Wasn't really thinking about food at the moment. He sacrificed His time to bring this lady up to speed on what God desires. There are some times that we want to hear from God more than we want to eat food. There are some times when we're open to what God has to say. There are times when we get caught up in the work of the kingdom because something must be done. Somebody must be prayed for. Somebody must receive the witness of Jesus Christ. So we place importance on doing God's will and eating later because this moment is critical for somebody to be saved. Jesus appropriately tells His disciples that He wants God's will to be done over and above any food that He could eat. My meat or my food is to do the will of Him that sent me. God has a calling upon our lives. God has implanted His purpose within us and the mission that we have. For some of us, it's to make the world a better place. For some of us, it's to find that niche, that profession, that career that lends value to somebody. For somebody, it is that desire to be used by God. I just want to do His will and to finish the work. The work is in our hands. We have a job to do, a purpose to fulfill. And somebody will say, like Jesus, I want to finish the work. God planted us, placed us where we are, gave us the wherewithal to do the work. And we won't be satisfied until the work is finished. The work must be finished in our home. The work must be finished with our family members. The work must be finished with our associates. We must give ourselves to God in such a way that if He wants to work through you, work through us, that His will, it will be done. Well, it's time to do God's will. And I hope you feel like that it is time to do God's will. I heard a songwriter says, I want to live so that God can use me anywhere and anytime. I want to treat my neighbor so that God can use me anywhere and anytime. Today is the day to do God's will and to finish His work. See that others have the chance to come to Jesus. See that others have the opportunity to hear about the Lord. See that others receive a message that they can act on, that they can be inspired by, that they too will come to Jesus and be saved. We have work to do, and we will finish the work of God with his help. God bless you today.